Welcome back to Laughing in the Dark, the podcast where I hang out in haunted places with comedians. I'm your host, Sarah Jones. For this episode, I got to hang out with the very, very funny Dan Weber. If you don't know who Dan Weber is, do yourself a favor and find out. Dan co-hosts the podcast What's More Metal with Noriko Ott, where they debate the most metal things in the universe. Honestly, pause this episode and subscribe to What's More Metal right now. I'm serious, and you're welcome. Okay, now that you have that taken care of, let's get back to this. So Dan and I got to go check out the site of what was once a creepy abandoned amusement park called Lotus Isle. Now, unfortunately, it's just a regular park, so slightly less terrifying, but still a lot of fun. A quick rundown of my sources for this show. I used pdxhistory.com, Wikipedia, offbeatoregon.com, and newscastic.com. If you want, check out the Instagram for pics that go along with this episode at Lit Dark Podcast. That's LITDARK Podcast. Check it out. Okay, ready to roll. Let me take a picture of the Lotus Isle Park sign at least. I really wish that there was still an abandoned amusement park, because that would be so awesome to take pictures of. Oh, wait, you know what I need? My fucking notebook with all my notes in it.
Oh, okay, yeah. You're going to want to be able to read about all the research you did.
I suppose.
It'd be a bummer if you didn't get all that. Well, I'm guessing.
You know what I figure?
Yeah.
I figured
I'm just looking around and I'm thinking, it's like this, I bet.
Yeah. It's no trespassing.
I guess we can't. Well, we can't go in there.
We can't go into that parking lot?
I guess not.
Well,
we're down there.
We can stay...
we can stay in this little medium part.
Yeah.
Let's go see what this is.
Okay.
It says something.
Sure.
Got some information.
There's information to see here. Floating home mirage. What's that? There's no soliciting.
Mortgage.
Okay, I don't know what that is. Yeah, I guess it's not a mirage.
No. Yeah, you can totally see what's going on. It's where you park a boat.
Oh.
So these are all like addresses for the boats here.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, what's weird is they've got like the little rectangles are the size of the boat.
Oh, 11622 is fucking ballin'.
Yeah, right? Like
11634.
Like I'm sure that the people who live here like look at this every day, and if they don't live in like 11622, they're like, son of a bitch, or like 11634. Like instead you're in 11612 or whatever, like the jinkiest boat.
Yeah. Amongst all the biggest ones.
You're like, oh, I guess
I didn't make it.
I'm
still
not rich.
A fucking loser.
Yeah.
You own a boat.
You own a boat. You live on a fucking houseboat.
You know what
but
moorage means. What is that? I don't know what that is. Moorage.
It's just it's where you park a boat.
Yeah, but why would I need to know that? These people know all about that, and they still feel good about themselves.
But you can't. I mean, look at that. Those are just floating houses. Like, you can't. It's not a boat.
Wait, that's what they're talking about?
Yeah, all this shit. Yeah.
Do people live there?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So you can watch somebody's watching TV right now.
Oh yeah.
They don't even know they're living next to a fucking haunted amusement park.
2 of them actually. Okay, well, do you want to? We can sit on the swings.
Yeah, but there's more to it. Like, you can keep
oh yeah. Do you want to go down there? Maybe there's a cool spot.
Yeah, right. Don't know.
Wouldn't that be sweet if it was still just the wreckage of this like abandoned amusement park?
Right. Although this fucking path is fucked up.
Yeah.
If you were being chased by a specter, you would want to run on the lawn, because this shit is
confusing.
This is where you twist your ankle.
Oh yeah, totally.
To death.
Yeah. With a hatchet.
With a hatchet. If you're lucky.
With a hatchet.
You know? only if you're good.
Why would it not be stabbing with a hatchet? If you can stab someone with a knife, but you can't stab someone with a hatchet, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm guessing and this is just conjecture.
Okay.
But because of the motion, like when you stab somebody, you're like pushing it in.
Stab it
first.
in.
You can't do that with
You
a
like
hatchet.
whack someone with
you just
a hatchet.
hit chop them.
Yeah, that makes
Fuck
sense.
you.
Yeah.
It's a much more violent motion. Like you hate.
Yeah,
you
stabbing is much
somebody
more refined.
Yeah, stabbing is like, you know what? I mean, I want to kill you, but
I'm still a gentleman.
yeah, I'm still gonna be, you know.
What is this?
This is a trail that goes right into the fucking.
Oh, it's just a little trail. Yeah, me neither. It looked like it was like a little like hole, like a little.
Where they hide the body. But apparently, this park is open till midnight, so I will.
So, oh, you did? Okay, so we're not breaking any rules.
No rules broken.
We're just
not that I mind, not that I give a shit, but
well,
I
don't
and be like,
either.
get the fuck out. You know?
That's when that's when you like kind of duck away for a little bit, and then you just go back to what you were doing, and just be like, oh, I didn't know if this was fine. Well, do you want to sit here, or do you want to sit somewhere else?
It's a little wet.
It's very wet, I'm sure. Okay. Okay, let's stand. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Oh, do you think there's snakes in there? There probably is.
And Hayden Island?
Man, I had an umbrella, but I didn't think we would need it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are at the site of what was once the Lotus Isle Amusement Park. It is now just the Lotus Isle Park.
Yeah.
No longer amusing.
No, it's not really amusing.
No, it's just a park. And we are right across the street from Jantzen Beach. Wait, which is not that way. Wouldn't it be that way?
Yeah,
it is that way. Okay. But we're going to talk about both today. So, on May 26th of 1928, the Jantzen Beach Amusement Park opened its doors. At the time, it was the largest amusement park in the nation, spanning over 123 acres of land.
What?
Yeah.
In Jantzen Beach?
Yeah. So Jantzen Beach was hugely successful, and it was home of the world-famous Big Dipper roller coaster, which was a giant wooden coaster and one of the largest roller coasters on the Pacific coast at the time. It was designed by Carl Fair, who was apparently a legendary coaster designer.
All right.
It was a big deal. Jantzen Beach also featured the Golden Canopied Ballroom, where big-name bands would perform and dancers would come from all over the world for competitions, complete with orchestras.
Jesus, when was this? What time?
1928, so the 20s, 30s.
So right before the shit hit the fan, like right before the Great Depression.
Yeah, so it was when people are still balling.
The roaring 20s.
Yeah, the roaring 20s. Just the tail end of it. So they don't think it's going to end, but they don't know what's coming.
They don't know what's coming.
They even had the first musical swimming pool where you could swim and hear music underwater.
Okay.
Which sounds fucking rad. I would totally check that out.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've never heard of one today. Like, why don't they do that now? Do you think it's lame?
No, I bet. I mean, it's got to be like safety shit. Like, like back then they didn't give a fuck. Like,
no.
Like they didn't. Whatever. Like, every once in a while.
It's electronic underwater. What's the difference?
What could possibly go wrong? We don't know anything about electricity, really. Like, shit, it fried a whole bunch of people. Well,
their doctors are just smoking. Like,
yeah.
They're like,
you got asthma? Have a cigarette.
Yeah, it'll help.
Yeah, it'll clear you right up. It'll make you cough up what's in your lungs.
Which is good. That's what you want.
Yeah, always. That's what a cigarette is.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, where the magnificent Jantzen Beach Amusement Park once stood, over there, now stands the Jantzen Beach Outdoor Shopping Center.
Yes.
Yeah. And actually the pumping system from that musical swimming pool still remains, only now it serves to pump the drinking water for the residents of Hayden Island.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of cool.
That is cool. I wonder if it's still musical.
Yes, it is.
You can
turn on your sink.
You turn on your sink.
They play Gojira.
Yeah. They play something weird. Play some Flotsam and Jetsam or some like old annoying hair metal. Or Anya would be good. Orenco Flow. It's just on a loop.
Flow, that's perfect because
it's on a loop.
Flowing.
Yeah, it's on a loop all the time. That's all you hear.
Maybe like Aqua would be a good band to put on, Barbie Girl.
Right, because that's why everybody on Hayden Island is so chill.
Yeah.
Every time you pour yourself a glass of water, you hear Enigma.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You hear some Gregorian chanting comes out of your fucking faucet.
Yeah, I would not be opposed to that, honestly.
Doesn't sound awful.
Even if I hated the music, I'd still be like, that's kind of funny.
That's kind of cool. Like, I'd live here.
Yeah, so that's verified. Anyway, so the Jantzen Beach amusement park was enormously successful and thus attracted some healthy competition. So we are sitting, that's not true, we're standing.
I'm standing.
We're standing in the site of what was once the Lotus Isle amusement park, which is about a 3-minute drive from where the Jantzen Beach amusement park once stood. The Lotus Isle was opened by a group of investors hoping to sell it off to the owners of Jantzen Beach because it was so successful. They were like, this is going to be easy. And then the owners of Jantzen Beach just told them they don't mind the competition, so they were just fucked.
Yeah.
But still, they opened the Lotus Isle amusement park on June 28th of 1930, 2 years after Jantzen Beach opened their doors. So Lotus Isle spanned 128 acres, outdoing Jantzen Beach by 5 acres, thus making it Portland's and likely the nation's largest amusement park at the time. But they actually had no business opening up an amusement park, which is awesome.
You didn't know what they were doing?
No, because they were trying to just make money. So they were trying to like kind of scare the Jantzen Beach people, and then maybe they would sell it off to them, and they could, use the land. Someone happened to just like own this land, and they were like, "Oh, I have an idea." So sources that describe the Lotus Isle amusement park continuously describe it as surreal.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, I agree. OffbeatOregon.com described it as, quote, like a setting for a David Lynch movie, unquote.
Oh, man.
Yeah, which is rad.
Which one? I wonder.
Well, probably just any of them, because,
or even, got a guy
I think just that feeling.
Like PBR.
Yeah, I picture more like the TV show, what the fuck is it called, that David Lynch TV show?
Man, you're going to get a lot of hate mail.
I know.
Because I don't remember it either.
No, it takes place in the Pacific Northwest, too. That's the worst part of it.
Yeah.
It was so good. I watched all of the original. They came back with a new one, too.
Yeah. What the fuck?
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I never saw any of it.
Oh, really? You should watch at least the original, because it's really good.
I know that they made a movie called Firewalk with Me.
Oh, yeah. That was like a spin-off of the show, too.
Oh, my God.
It's killing me. It's the future. I can look it up on my phone, actually.
Look it up on your phone. We're going to have to.
I hope it just comes to me before I find it, though, because I hate it when David Lynch TV show.
Yeah, it's going to be the first thing you see.
Twin Peaks. Yeah. So I picture it being very Twin Peaks where, well, okay, you've never seen the show, but
You're right.
It's basically like just weird.
Yeah.
There's lots of oddities, and there's still like a storyline that runs through it, but then there's just weird parts that's very characteristic of David Lynch.
You just come around a corner, you go into the restroom, and then just next to you while you're at the urinal is just a little person dancing.
Well, there's a whole scene in Twin Peaks where there is a little person who does this like weird dance, and it like goes on for like a creepily long time, which is kind of David Lynch's style to just kind of creep you out in like a subtle way.
Right.
I loved Eraserhead, but I couldn't like figure out what it was about, and neither can anyone.
It's not about anything.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And David Lynch is quoted as saying that I'm not going to actually quote him because I don't have the source right now, but something like, nobody's ever come up with the same interpretation I had. And I'm like, it's a fucking cop-out, David Lynch. I love you, but dude, what the fuck? It's something about babies and sperm. Like, that thing is like a giant sperm, basically. And it's like acting like a baby, and maybe fear of like having babies. That's not the point. Anyway, it was a surreal amusement park.
Sure. That'd play well now. They should just make one now.
I know. They should remake the entire St. Lotus.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Lotus Isle.
Lotus Isle. Why did I think Saint? Lotus Isle. The Lotus Isle Amusement. They should remake it because it just was awesome. So this is all a quote from offbeatoregon.com, but just describing the feeling of how this amusement park was. Yeah. And I'm just going to start the quote right now. The roof of the bumper cars ride was shaped like a giant hairless bulldog, complete with fangs protruding from a menacing frown, crouched down as if preparing to pounce on a small child. At its entrance was a 100-foot tall neon sign in the shape of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. This massive work of gaudy randomness could be seen from miles away on both sides of the river. The windows of its mammoth dance hall, which, by the way, this is not part of the quote, but it had a 100-foot shimmering gold dome modeled after the St. Sophia in Constantinople.
Okay.
But the windows of the mammoth dance hall, called the Peacock Ballroom, were screened with chicken wire hooked to an electric fence charger. This was apparently to keep non-paying guests from getting in.
Wow.
So those words are from Finn J.D. John on September 10th, 2012. He wrote about this place in offbeatoregon.com. And the words were just so perfect. Like, yeah. I was trying to paraphrase it, and I was like, no, he nailed it.
No,
like,
he killed it.
Yeah, I gotta give him credit, because it was rad. But you can visualize how weird this fucking place was. Oh, yeah. Like, the ballroom has electric chicken wire on it that's gonna shock you if you touch it. Yeah. And there's this bulldog. It just was weird. Dude.
And it was the 20s, too, so that wasn't, like, a mild shock either. It probably just killed you.
Oh, yeah, you probably would just
every once in a while, like, somebody had the job of turning off the electricity and doing hobo cleanup. They just, like, walk down the side of the ballroom and pull off, like, the smoking corpses. Like, all right, we got 3 of them today. Luckily, it's not juicy because it burns them up. But,
yeah, they're crispy.
Yeah, they're crispy. It's like a briquette, really.
It's really easy cleanup. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, I'm sure there were some casualties there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, just in general, people. But, I mean, they didn't, Yeah, they probably killed a lot of people at that ballroom. Just before the tragic events. before the one tragedy, there was many others that no one gave a shit about.
Oh yeah, well then also like maybe my timeline is off, but no, it's way off. I was thinking about like there were tons of serial killers around that time too, that there's like a bunch of shit happening in the news, like Jack the Ripper, but he was like 30 years before this.
Yeah, he was way before.
Yeah, but
there's the dude in Chicago.
Oh, H.H. Holmes.
Yeah, the guy who had the Hotel of Doom.
Yeah, that was around this time. That was in the 20s.
Yeah.
So that was like 1925, I think, 26.
Something like that.
False. Okay, I have to cut in here. We hardly know what we're talking about. We mean well, but let me straighten these facts out here. Okay, so Jack the Ripper was slaughtering people in Whitechapel, London in 1900. H.H. Holmes was killing a shitload of people, like anywhere from 27 to 200 people before that. His killing spree actually spanned from about 1891 to 1894. It seems weird for some reason because I imagine Jack the Ripper being active way before Holmes, but that's not the case. Our story, I'll remind you, takes place in the late 1920s. The serial killer that better fits this timeline would be Albert Fish. He had many nicknames: the Gray Man, the Werewolf of Wisteria, the Brooklyn Vampire, the Moon Maniac, and even simply the Boogeyman. By any name, from 1924 to 1932, Albert Fish was a monster who raped, killed, and even ate children. Yeah, he was a fucking cannibal. Anyway, that's not the point. So everyone's focusing on that. They're not focused on someone who was dumb enough to touch the chicken wire.
Yeah, that's not even a serial killer thing.
No, that's just like, dude, don't touch the chicken wire. Get out of here,
poor people.
You're poor.
You're poor. Get out. Like, we killed poor people in the 20s.
Yeah, welcome to the Peacock Ballroom. Yeah. Fuck you. Okay, so the park sounds like it was so wonderfully obscure. Still, the fact remains that the investors who made the park were just trying to sell it off and had no business actually making an amusement park, even though they accidentally made the creepiest and most awesome sounding park ever. But finally, they found an investor, and his name was Edwin Platt, who took over the park. So he wasn't part of like the scheme in the first place. He actually genuinely wanted to take over the park. So once Edwin took over, the park was an instant success.
Oh, it's a dog.
Hi, puppy.
Dog.
Oh, is it nice?
It seems nice.
He seems nice.
I just didn't want you to be startled.
Oh, thank you. Hi, pup. Do you want to hear stories? Okay, so when Edwin Platt took over the park, it was an instant success until August 28th of 1930, when a 16-year-old boy was tragically flung from the Whiz, which is a wooden roller coaster at the Lotus Isle Park. And he landed in the Columbia River, which is this the Columbia River? It must be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he landed in there and he drowned. That's how he died. So he got flung from a roller coaster and drowned in the river. The very next day, Edwin Platt, the park's new owner, committed suicide by shooting himself in the heart and was found with a suicide note close by. So there was no doubt about how he died.
Right. Yeah.
Well, because, sometimes you're like, who shot him? He shot him. So then new management took over in 1931 by owners that were rumored to have gangland connections.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was great. All the stories about this site and Jantzen Beach make me believe that this is like cursed ground that we're standing on. Because it's just, there's so many just like, I actually wrote a description for it. It's so many disturbing and downright obscure incidences on this cursed carnival ground.
Well, I want to go back. Okay, so the 16-year-old kid that got flung out of the roller coaster.
Yeah,
right?
the Whiz.
The Whiz. The fuck was he doing, man? Like no one else got thrown out of this thing.
Right? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not like, there's no indication that it was ever considered even dangerous.
Yeah.
So this kid's just like,
he could have been dicking around.
Yeah, he was like, it wasn't. He was just like, the safety bar. This is gonna make it not fun. And then he's just like, all right. He's just like standing up in the thing, and he got thrown. Like depending on where it was, he got thrown hundreds of yards. What the fuck?
Yeah.
How does that happen in a roller coaster?
And it doesn't happen to anyone else.
And it never happens to anybody else. But more importantly, like a roller coaster, like I could see, like if it's one of those things, like there's that one ride with the squirrel cages, and it goes the
zipper. That one you're talking about?
Yeah. It goes vertical.
Yeah.
So that one, like if you get it flung at the top
and
of
it
the circle,
unhinges.
Then sure, I can see you getting thrown far enough. But a roller coaster is just going up and down.
Yeah.
Like how the fuck?
Or maybe it was like on a turn though, and maybe I don't know.
But see, that's the thing. Like getting
how does it not
flung
happen to anybody else
that far.
Yeah.
Like that. Like what the fuck?
It's suspect.
I don't know, man. Like
that's a good point.
Like he must have at some point, like it's going down because it catches speed going down. That's how roller coasters work.
Right. Yeah.
So you can't get flung if you're going down and you got flung out of it. You just you just slam right into the ground.
Yeah.
And if it's going up, it's not going fast enough to throw you anywhere. Because it gets to the top.
Click.
What the fuck?
It must have been at a turn though. Like when they turn around the corners. I've been on roller coasters that have like a pretty sharp turn.
Yeah, but
if he wasn't secured enough in there, I guess you could see him kind of like jerking out of it.
I just think he was with some people who didn't like him, and they're like, they unhooked him, and he's like, no, and then they're just two guys. Like he hits that thing, it's three people. He's in the middle. They're like, we planned this. I hate this motherfucker.
Yeah.
He hooked up. He kissed my girl. they go they hit the top or something, like some corner, and they just like heave his ass out.
Yeah.
Just assuming that he's just gonna not fly very far.
People people fall out. I've heard stories of like girls that get like their hair caught on like a certain part of the coaster, and like that happens because it happens like still today. People dying. But yeah, it is weird to think that he got flung into the river.
He got thrown that far. That's a long way.
Or someone could have just like dared him to not use the safety stuff, or like that could have happened.
Or maybe the zipper went out over the river.
Oh,
and he
maybe.
just fell out. Like they call it flung, but really he just fell out
the side.
Fell off the side
into the
river, and then like maybe he jumped. Maybe instead he was like, you know what? I gotta impress my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna dive off of the fucking roller coaster when it gets over the river. And then he's like, you know what? He's like halfway down. And he's like, man, you know what? I didn't think about. I don't know how to swim.
Yeah.
Oh man, I did not.
Well, I'm thinking. It says that he drowned in the river, but a river isn't super deep. It's not like an ocean.
Yeah.
So, and with going with that much centrifugal force, like following you, he went deep into it.
Maybe he hit the ground.
Probably hit the ground, probably hit his head or something.
And then it knocked him out, and then he drowned.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
that would make the most sense.
But I find the term like flung from the fucking roller coaster very
problematic.
That's not.
Yeah.
No, that's not how roller coasters work.
No, and ultimately Edwin was really hard on himself.
Yeah,
like that's not your fucking fault.
No, man, it's just. I mean, honestly, one death in an amusement park, like
that's pretty good odds. Yeah,
pretty good. Like the amusement parks
in the 20s, the chicken wire probably cost more than the roller coaster.
Yeah, like why weren't you bummed about all the fucking?
Oh, they're poor.
All the poor people that got barbecued on your chicken wire.
Oh.
You don't care about them. You're just like this one affluent kid who could afford to take the ride.
Right.
Dad, I gotta kill myself now. I think he just hated himself.
He probably did.
You're just looking for an excuse to blow his own brains out.
He blew his own heart out. Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so new management took over in 1931. And a notable promoter, so not a manager, but like part of the team, was Al Painter. And he was a man who was marked by a checkered past. And he was rumored to have been running from creditors when he first came to Portland.
Okay.
So that kind of like gives you an idea of his character. And misfortune continued to follow the Lotus Isle amusement park. So Al Painter had found out about a 12-foot tall, 20,000-pound circus elephant named Tusco.
Tusco?
Which is the best name for a circus
fucking dope
elephant.
Name for an elephant. A 20,000 pound?
20,000 pound, 12-foot tall.
That's a monster.
I actually took notes on... I said, just to give an idea of the size of Tusco, an average adult male African bush elephant, which I think is what he was, gets to be about 11 feet tall.
Okay, that's pretty good.
And weighs about 13,000 pounds.
So he outweighed them by 7,000 pounds.
Yeah, and by a foot taller. So Tusco was, 12 feet tall and weighed 20,000 pounds. He's a big ass. All elephants are big.
Yeah.
He was a really big fucking elephant.
Big for an elephant.
Yes, which
makes it enormous. Says a lot. Enormous.
Yeah, he was enormous. And he had actually earned a bit of a reputation for himself in Sedro-Woolley, Washington, where, as a reaction to a beating, Tusco tossed his aggressor across the room and began a rampage all through the downtown area, wrecking several cars and houses on his path.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, causing a riot in a dance hall, which I didn't find details about, but use your imagination.
Yeah.
And later trashing a nearby logging camp. Tusco was reportedly drunk at the time, having been given 10 gallons of moonshine.
Jesus. What the fuck?
Which was meant to help him fight off a cold. What? Because it's 1930 and they're just like, oh.
Booze helps. It always helps me.
Exactly.
It helps me when I got to get my elephant beat on.
Yeah, Grandpa's cold medicine.
What the fuck? Why would you beat... What kind of maniac beats an elephant?
That's really common practice in the circus. That's like how it's like really fucked up. Oh God, there's a really good book about this guy who travels with the circus, They might have made a movie out of it even, but I don't think I've seen it. But he talks about that, like how I think it's like based on a true story. This guy like jumped on a train car. What the fuck is that book called? It's really good. Oh, you know what it's called? The book Water for Elephants.
Oh, Water for Elephants?
That's what it's called. Have you heard of that?
Uh-uh.
It's a really good book. I think either they made a movie out of it or they were going to make a movie out of it. But it's based on a true story, and this guy travels with the circus, and animal abuse is like huge in the circus. Elephants get the shit beat out of them all the time, which is horrible. And Tusko's red.
Yeah, Tusko's not having it.
No, not at all.
Tusko's drunk, and he's like, oh, he looks around and he's like, wait a minute.
Thanks for the 10 gallons of moonshine.
Yeah, by the way.
You're a dick.
Yeah, and you're so much smaller than me.
Yeah.
I just realized it.
Yeah.
I'm 20,000 pounds and
you're like cars.
You're like 200 pounds. I outweigh you by 100 times.
Yeah.
How about I just fuck you up? How about that? That guy's lucky he just got thrown across the room.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see his condition, but I don't think it was like good.
I'm sure it hurt. I'm sure
he got a couple bruises.
Yeah.
He probably got a little bumped up.
Just wrapped him up in the fucking trunk and just tossed his ass.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this was
awesome.
This was easy.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna go fuck up the town.
You and fuck this whole town.
Fuck this whole town.
And then so Al Painter was like, great, and he purchased Tusko the elephant
for a steal. I imagine.
And actually, you know who he purchased him from? John Ringling.
Oh wow.
One of the Ringling brothers. And then he tried selling him to the Portland Zoo because he's just trying to make a buck, Yeah. And the Portland Zoo knew about the rampage in Washington, and they were like, no, we're good.
You can't have Tusko.
Yeah. Oh, we know about Tusko.
Tusko's got a taste for human flesh now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
We only want elephants that we can beat and they don't fight back.
Yeah, and they're not 12 fucking feet tall and 20,000 pounds. So Painter ended up just keeping Tusko as an exhibit at Lotus Isle because he didn't know what the fuck else to do with him. So in March of 1931, this is kind of a separate incident, but just another crazy thing that happened on this site. A low-flying airplane was experiencing turbulence and crashed into an artificial mountain which stood behind the scenic railway of Lotus Isle.
Okay.
Which sent Tusko into another terrified rampage, destroying much of the park. The pilot was okay, and a few men in Tusko's way received minor injuries and were treated at St. Vincent's Hospital, actually. But the buildings Tusko destroyed were never rebuilt, and the park really never fully recovered. So the nail in the coffin for Lotus Isle happened on August 24th of 1931, when the Peacock Ballroom mysteriously caught fire and burnt to the ground. So arson was suspected.
No, man, it was a burning hobo. It was a hobo trying to get in.
That could also
he was like watching
drunk on moonshine, so he was very flammable.
He got some of fucking old Tusko's moonshine. He's like watching people dance. He's like, I could do that. Tries to climb through the window. Nobody warned him.
They're just like me.
And then like a fucking fly in a UV trap, he just ignites into flame, and then all the wooden building.
That's the most likely.
I think it was.
That's probably what happened.
It wasn't arson. I mean, technically.
Although, no matter what it was, the blaze was so large that the heat could be felt 700 feet away on the other side of the river.
Wow.
In Vancouver, Washington.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is a long.
That is a very high blaze for a hobo, a drunk-ass hobo.
Yeah, I mean,
Although I haven't ever seen a drunk hobo on fire, so maybe that's typical.
Well, I mean, once the wood gets started, and the steel beams melt. Yeah. And the Tower 5 goes down.
Yeah.
And that's when you know. I just think, like, what a fucking way to go. Like, they built that fucking copper top.
Yeah.
The fucking dome or whatever they put on that thing.
The, like shimmering gold
just
dome.
Like melts. It's like a river of copper just like comes flowing out of it.
Oh my god.
All the firemen are just like, you know what? Nah.
Fuck this.
I'm just gonna let it burn.
We're gonna be back in a couple hours.
Yeah, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for this one.
Yeah.
Man, we could feel the heat while we were driving here, and we just decided, no.
Fuck this. What was it, a hobo?
Yeah.
Okay,
hey,
who
come
cares?
on.
It's
Yeah,
1930.
yeah, we don't. Listen.
When did the Great Depression happen? 1940?
No, in the 30s.
It was in the 30s?
Mid-30s, yeah.
So this was like right before then,
Right
too.
before the Great Depression.
Everything's
Might have
going to shit.
precipitated it, really.
It's probably the cause of it, honestly.
The Peacock Ballroom burnt to the ground and Wall Street just took a shit. They were like, I was going to go there.
If Peacock can't stand, how will we?
Yeah, how can we possibly keep up this, all the scamming we've done on the stock market?
Yeah.
Oh, well, shit.
Oh, well, let's give up.
All the banks are going to fold now.
Yeah.
They're going to fold up like that dome on top of my favorite dance hall in Portland, Oregon. Which I don't even know where that is.
Nobody
honestly.
does.
Nobody knows Portland? Where the fuck is that?
Oh, man.
They built the biggest thing in the fucking most obscure city.
And the most obscure park, too.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck was that? Anyway, so shortly after the fire, Painter brought Tusco. Oh, I was really concerned with what happened to Tusco, so I did research to figure that out.
Because Tusco was dope.
Yeah, he is dope. So he's the like main character in our story.
Yeah.
So Tusco was brought down to the Oregon State Fair, and then Painter just disappeared. He just ghosted everyone and left Tusco at the Oregon State Fair.
Jesus Christ.
He ended up in the Seattle Zoo, where he eventually died in 1933. But the park then faced bankruptcy and closed the doors for good. Fire was set to what remained of the park.
They just burned it?
Yeah, they just burned that fucker to the ground. They're like, let's forget all of this ever happened.
Yeah, this never happened.
There's this bald-ass bulldog.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
Yeah.
This was really weird. We're
just
done.
Knocked down the Eiffel Tower neon.
Which I wish was still here.
Oh, yeah.
I would totally take a selfie right next to it. It would be great.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome.
If you could
the
see
whole
it
park
from
sounds
miles
awesome.
away.
Yeah, that's so gaudy and awesome. So Jantzen Beach had some misfortune of their own, actually. They also experienced a tragic death of a child thrown from the Dipper roller coaster, which is their whiz.
It's roller coasters throwing people.
Well, this wasn't until 1959.
Oh, wow.
But that was a decade after a flood, which claimed the lives of 15 people. And later a fire of their own in 1960, and they too were eventually forced to close their doors. So like 30 years after Lotus Isle. But for a long time, now we're getting to like the ghost stuff. For a long time, the carousel from the Jantzen Beach amusement park remained within the shopping mall.
Yeah,
that was, like, right
it was
over
there when I was a kid.
Yeah. It's not there anymore. It's like in storage somewhere. But it was actually just like left in the same spot where it was.
Yeah.
And the mall was like around it. And many people reportedly saw two ghostly children playing around the carousel. One comment on like a thread that I read described them seeming to be brother and sister, 20 to 30s era, which fits the timeline. And they just are kids playing on the carousel. I don't know, did you ever see that as a kid?
Did I see the ghosts?
Yeah.
I mean, no, but I did ride that carousel.
Oh, you did? Was it creepy?
I mean...
Well,
no more
carousel isn't creepy,
yeah,
really.
all carousels are fucking creepy.
They go slow and it's weird.
You gotta, I mean... Like, fundamentally, you've got to pull driven through a horse.
Yeah.
Like, smash through a horse. The faces are usually, like, in terror. Like, a terrifying face.
Yeah.
Like, showing abject pain. Their mouths are open. And their teeth are just fucking gross. Yeah. Like, this is not a horse that's enjoying itself.
No.
And mostly because it's been impaled by a fucking...
Which does not sound like fun.
By a brass bar, usually.
And it's, like, slowly moving in circles. It's not going anywhere.
And it's just like jerking the horse up and down.
Carnival music, up and down.
Yeah. I mean, every turn, there should be a speaker that just says, "We all float down here." Like every time you come around. Just be like fucking quoting Pennywise from It.
Yeah, it totally is. There's no not creepy carousel. Even as like a kid, I remember being like, "This isn't even fun."
No, it's not.
This isn't bumper cars or what's that one that like the Tilt-A-Whirl? That was fun.
That's a fun ride.
But it was just so slow and eerie.
Yeah.
So, and at Lotus Isle, sometimes a boy can be heard falling. This is fucking sad. As if out of the sky. And sometimes there's thought to be the spirit of Edwin Platt seen attempting to catch him. I think that's lame.
Oh, man.
It's sad. I mean, like, this guy was really hard on himself about that. Okay, my glasses are, like, wet, so it's like the lights are reflecting off of them, and it's hard to see.
I got you.
Plus, I need to up my prescription, so I'm, like, not in good shape.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so fucking expensive.
Fucking 47, man. Damn. My eyes are just... Fuck off. Like, I can't read anymore. I have to take off my glasses to look at a menu. Like,
Are you farsighted?
Nearsighted.
Oh, okay.
Extraordinarily nearsighted.
See, I'm nearsighted too, but doesn't that mean, like, you can't see far away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't read anymore either.
Oh, okay. So you're, like, somewhere in between.
I have to take my glasses off to read anything.
Yeah.
Which is infuriating.
Yeah, that would be really frustrating.
Well, it's just more like, you know, I didn't plan on getting this old. I certainly
You thought you were going to perish at this point.
Yeah, I thought I'd be dead.
Yeah.
Far before now.
I certainly tried not to.
Yeah, I fucking made it.
How many wooden roller coasters did you ride? Because maybe you could have been flung.
I know, I should have. I should have done the roller coaster. That was one thing I did not think of.
Yeah.
Instead, I just did a lot of drugs and drank a lot.
Yeah, we'll see.
That didn't kill me.
Unfortunately.
You know what?
I feel you.
You try, and sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Sometimes it doesn't. I need to take some pictures of the park.
Do another lap.
Yeah, do another lap. There seems like there's
It ain't that big.
We're going
most of what used to be the park is now houses and shit.
That's what it must be. All the houses.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was thinking. That I was like, how is it this big? If it's.
It must have been this entire end of this island.
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
They just made this little park, and the rest of it is just. You know, that house is where the carousel was, and they burned that shit down, and over there was where Tupco fucked something up, and just rammed right into a building.
I wonder how many of these people have, like, had weird, like, just subtle haunted experiences, you know, that they're like, I don't know what this was, but I heard the sound of a boy falling. I heard the sound of, like, kids daring this guy not to wear his safety.
Yeah. Just jump. Yeah, come on, Billy.
Billy.
I'm sure his name was Billy.
It had to be.
Billy or, well, what's an old-timey name?
Peter, maybe that's
Petey.
too far back.
They called him Petey.
Petey.
His name was Petey.
They're like, come on, Petey.
Come on, Petey. What are you?
I thought you were cool,
Are you
Petey.
a sissy? Are you yellow? Are you yellow, Billy? Petey? Jump up. Just jump in the river. Why don't you do it? No, man. You said you would.
What, are you scared?
Are you scared? You scared? You should be.
I wish it was just an abandoned that, like, bulldog. Did you see a picture of it when you looked it up?
No.
It looks so crazy. It's really creepy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like the cover of the Bumper Cars ride.
Right. But why?
Because it's awesome.
Well, no, I mean, like, what does that have to do with bumper cars?
I'm gonna look it up right now and show it to you.
Just like, yeah, man. You know, when people think about bumper cars, what they think about is a mean bulldog. No, they don't. No one does.
Look, dude.
Jesus Christ. That's insane. Like, why is that the bumper car thing?
I don't know. Because the guys who made the park are just investors, and they didn't expect to actually have to make the park.
Because, like, I think it's because cocaine wasn't illegal yet.
No, yeah.
They're just like, yeah, dude.
Well, they're investors.
They're just like snorting mad amounts of blow and just being like,
I know. Well, we're gonna do dog. I like it. Let's do it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You're right.
I love you, dude.
Yeah. Have another whiskey. Let's fucking think. What should the entrance be? You know what people dig? The Eiffel Tower, man.
Yeah, dude.
Let's make it out of neon.
Let's make it 100 feet tall.
100 feet tall. You should be able to see it from downtown Portland.
Yeah, and fuck Jantzen Beach. We're gonna make it 5 acres bigger. Fuck them.
Fuck it, we're gonna make it bigger, and then we're gonna get the biggest, drunkest elephant we can find.
Yeah.
And we're gonna let people beat on it.
The Portland Zoo doesn't want it, so.
Yeah. I like the fact that guy like took an elephant to the state fair. And just like, peace out.
Just left.
I don't know what to do with it, man.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
I hope you guys had fun exploring the memories of the Lotus Isle Amusement Park with Dan and I. Don't forget to check out Dan's podcast, What's More Metal, and be sure to check out his other podcast, Reading the Bible with Dan. If you're listening on our day of release, Wednesday, May 16th of 2018, and you are in Portland, Oregon, you can catch Dan tonight at the Helium Comedy Club in the show Funny Humans vs. the Wheel. And check him out on Instagram at Daniel T. Weber. That's DanielTweber, just one B. While you're there, check us out on social media too, at Lit Dark Podcast. Special thanks, as always, goes to Sarah Schneider, my manager, Jonathan Cooper, my graphic designer, Chris Finster, my producer, Nick Wilson, and everyone at Bridge City Sessions, Dan Weber, my guest, and all of you for listening.